Good morning, everyone. Today we're checking out a brand new video from Connie X of making the Almo Digimon fuse with every Almo Digiegg. That's right, it's time to take all these Digieggs and make one big ass Digi omelet.
Armour
Let's go.
Digivolution. I've talked at length about how I think Sagittariumon looks like a double Armour Digivolution using the Digiegg of Friendship and Courage.
Definitely.
I've also made a whole video talking about what other double Armour Digivolutions might look like. However, I'm feeling silly, and if we don't take some risks with custom art, we're going to stagnate forever. Which is why the idea occurred to me, what if we just combined all of the Armour Digieggs, every single one, and gave the Digimon Adventure 02 rookies, and champion in Gatomon's case, Armour Digivolutions using every single Armour Digiegg. And today's video, that's exactly what we're gonna do.
Time to go ultimate spirit up in this.
What is up, digital companions? My name is Khan EX and welcome back to another video. And yes, today we are taking all the Armour Digieggs from Digimon Adventure 02 and beyond, not like the Digiegg of Darkness and things like that, just the ones that were used as Armour Digieggs, and throwing them all at one rookie at the same time. They're all going to be like Mega or Ultra power level equivalent, and I really just wanted the artists to go where they felt worked best with this prompt. There's no precedent for this, and we're not thinking about toys or anything realistic. Nothing needs to be considered, I just want full expression for this idea. And if you're enjoying these custom art videos, it really would mean the world to me if you would check out my Patreon, patreon.com/KhanEX. You can subscribe at a bunch of tiers for different rewards. $3 a month gets you early access to all my videos, plus a bunch of updates and other stuff like that. Then there's higher tiers, early access to second channel content, exclusive videos, and if you become a Deva or a Sovereign, like my Sovereign ZDK14 and my Devas Hefe Von Coughing and Murby Studios, not only do you get personally thanked in every custom art video, but you also directly contribute to that custom art, getting a credit on screen and helping make sure that custom art videos can continue to exist on this channel without sponsors on those videos. So if you go to patreon.com/KhanEX and consider signing up, it would mean the absolute world. Let's get to it. So we begin with Hawkmon, and I bought Rubik's on board for this one. Getting all of those...
Starting off with Hawkmon. Now that's actually kind of interesting. Most people would start off with, of course, the goggle part, no? Oh, so in this case, Vmon, but no. Starting off with one of the secondaries. Okay.
Armour Digieggs: Courage, Friendship, Love, Sincerity, Knowledge, Reliability, Kindness, Miracles, Destiny. Yep, it's all in there. Hawkmon will full Armour Digivolve to Benumon. I gave it the name Benumon because honestly we're just running out of bird deities to base these custom art forms on, but Benu is an ancient Egyptian deity linked with the sun, creation, and rebirth. Seems like a grandiose set of things to be associated with for a combined Armour Digivolution. Benu may also have been the original inspiration for the Phoenix legends of Greek mythology, which would be a good connection to Phoenixmon. The Biomon Mega is one of the progenitors of Hawkmon. Hawkmon gets its love Armour Digivolution from Biomon and Sora's connection. And the Egyptian elements work with Halsamon's namesake too. I couldn't really find anything that could compromise Egyptian and Japanese to compromise Halsamon and Shurimon, but I like Benumon. And there's so many fun details here. First of all, you can still see that Hawkmon body underneath, almost becoming like an Aquilamon body, with wings reminiscent of Pegasusmon and Nefertimon. Those reliability armored legs, meaning that it would be a very good swimmer. The headpiece being the love headpiece, but also factoring in that Raidramon Horn of Friendship. Some smaller elements I like. You can see that Puchimon's kind of antenna have become these trailing golden pieces. I think that's kind of cool because, of course, Ked and Yoli eventually get married. And we've even got the Shurimon twisted shuriken tail on the end here, but again, etched in gold, which is very cool. Plus, one hand being blocky like the Digiegg of Miracles, and one hand being more curved like the Digiegg of...
I was actually just about to say, it's got that Destiny hand.
Destiny. This is so much fun from Rubik's. I'm a really big fan of this. Benumon is a benevolent deity armored Digimon, both a guardian of Primary Village and a Digimon that appears before the dying Digimon across the digital world. Its signature move sees it stretching its gigantic wings and powering up a devastating ray, which obliterates all in front of it and heals all behind it. It's Rebirth, Reunion. Moving over to Armadillomon. I really had nothing in mind here when I gave it to Soru, but I love the interpretation Soru took with this one. Again, as a reminder, I'm not trying to do a big cohesive theme here. I want to see what the artist would come up with and kind of give them some help and hints along the way, but I like what Soru's done here. Taking every Armour Digiegg and turning Armadillomon into Armadamon.
Holy shit! Holy, look at this thing! Armadamon. Oh, that is just straight awesome.
Same, of course, from an armada, an entire army or fleet of ships, which I think kind of sums up this
Holy
grandiose, big, bulky Digimon quite well, and Armadamon sounds quite similar to Armadimon, the Japanese name of Armadillomon. Soru took the prompt incredibly literally, which I absolutely love.
Did.
Not just taking elements of the Digieggs, though, but specifically of the existing Armadillomon Arma-Digivolutions, which I think is really fun. Clearly, you've got that big Submarimon harpoon on the back, but jetting off it are Terramon's wings. The headpiece is inspired by Boarmon, with the body having elements comprised of Sheepmon, Frogmon, the Digiegg of Kindness just sat there, but with that Camillamon tail still keeping Armadillomon's Kindness Arma-Digivolution intact. The Digimon front pincers I think is very cool, with Elephantmon legs, a great touch, and I'm sure the other Armadillomon armors are factored in small little ways. I think it's a really fun idea.
That is
very
epic.
kind of Megazordy, but in a way I like, and without overpowering the design, despite how many different colors and things we got going on here. Armadamon is a dedicated soldier and worker, seen in huge armies across the digital world, but in times of peace or just when no battles are to be found, Armadamon put their incredibly diverse skills into action, completely renovating towns, drilling for fresh water sources, and cultivating fields for agriculture. For a finishing move, it spins its propellers and activates its harpoon, leaping forward head first using its powerful legs to decimate its enemy with a full force assault. Alright, Gatomon's complete Arma-Digivolution, and I bought in HLR for this one. I thought it was kind of important that while I like Nefertimon, I wanted a form more similar to Anjouamon for this, which led us to this form, which I am going to call Hemsutmon. In Egyptian mythology, the Hemsut were the goddesses of fate and protection, representative of the Ka, which is kind of your essence in Egyptian mythology. The Egyptians believed that the soul was split into multiple parts, but the Ka was kind of like your vital essence. Funnily enough, the Hemsut had headdresses that bore shields, above which had two crossed arrows, which just reminded me of the crossed arrows of Anjumon and Anjouamon in Digimon Adventure. And I really like this form from HLR. It approaches it in a similar way to Soru's Armadamon, but a little bit more understated, taking more direct inspiration from the Digieggs this time, with that spear, of course, having elements of miracles and reliability, wings of love, light, and hope, arm pieces feeling like fairy grass Digimon, indeed with a sword representative of the Digiegg of Sincerity, more reliability, love, destiny, light, armor pieces, and even little fractions off here of Raidramon's horn from the Digiegg of Friendship, with a kind of fiery aura folded in for that courage note. I think this is really well done from HLR. At first it looks quite subtle, then the more you look into it, the more you can see how basically every single Digiegg has a lot more representation, but in a much more pared down way that actually really works for the design. I'm especially a big fan of the kindness skirt here. Hemsutmon is a guardian angel of the digital world, but also one who steps into fight, often seen allying itself with lovely Anjumon and Dominimon. It spins its halberd at intense speed, activating all of its wings in a fiery, punishing assault, driving the tip of its halberd into the enemy and burning it with holy fire, known as the Holy Riptide. Now it's time for
Holy Riptide. Oh, that is a good move.
Dry, who I gave Patamon. This is not going to be an aquatic form from Dry. Love that for once. Although I guess Dry has been doing all of the Hope Armor fixes too, so it's pretty appropriate that we gave him Patamon for this video, leading to the creation of what Dry has dubbed Guardiamon. It's a very simple naming convention, but this is supposed to be a very biblical angel guardian angel. Dry took the concept of Patamon's combined armor with that biblically accurate angel idea, and even Nightmon, who has the Hope crest on its shield, to combine together. But also the fact that, of course, Anjumon, and TK's partner Patamon in general, is the first partner in the Digimon Adventure canon that most of us saw die and be reborn. So Dry liked the idea that this armor would be a guardian angel that lives between life and death, a literal suit of armor that protects the promise of rebirth, the potential inside each Digimon and what they could become, or simply hope. Dry even factored that in, making the overall shape of Guardiamon.
Weirdly, it's kind of remind me of Chaosmon. Hold on. Well, I tried to find the picture to bring up to show you, but just Google Ultimate Chaosmon on Google Image and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Reminiscent of the crest of hope, a shining star with a tail or cape. And I love how this has all come together. The little Tokomon-esque creature inside being protected by the holy rings, the wings of love and hope, the headpieces of basically Flamedramon from the Digiegg of Courage. There's all these little nice pieces of each Digiegg just folded in, but into a cohesive design that I really like. This is not a Digimon we've really seen before, but I could also see being, for example, a purified evolution for something like Phantomon or Metal Phantomon. And with those Patamon ears sticking working out, it's still clearly a Patamon evolution. Dry did also kind of go for a more unified theme, stripping the individual colors and creating this
look at
golden
that.
variant of Guardiamon, which I also love a lot.
That
I really do
is
love
good.
the version where you can see each individual element of the Digiegg still poking through, but for a cohesive design, perhaps not intrinsically tied to the armor Digieggs, this golden Guardiamon I think is also fantastic. Guardiamon is the guardian angel of rebirth and hope, at all costs protecting that life that is soon to be reborn. It uses its Guardian Engine signature move to spin those rings faster and faster, generating an intense energy blast to protect the promised rebirth and obliterate enemies. Okay,
Guardian Engine, that is a good one.
Ultimate custom art is going to be Wormmon, and Adriano Davino is back on a video. Very excited about this. Taking all of those armored Digieggs and slapping them on Wormmon to create Brahmarimon. Getting its name from Brahmari, the Hindu goddess of bees. Or specifically the goddess of black bees too, which I think is a nice connection to, admittedly while they're not bees, Rankuagumon and Grandiscoagumon, who does have honey mode. However, Brahmari has also kind of been extended.
I didn't know it had honey mode.
To be a general deity of insects, having stories related to hornets, wasps, flies, termites, mosquitoes, and spiders which clung to her and emanated forth in a wave over the ranks of enemies. So I think that's a pretty good inspiration for this Digimon, and just a really nice name, Brahmarimon. And I love the way Adriano Davino has done this, factoring in
I'll be honest, this thing looks so much like a Grandis Kuwagamon. Like, this thing could just backslap it and it would apologize. I don't mean him, I mean the Grandis Kuwagamon. Like, get slapped and then is begging for apologies.
Again, the more literal forms of the Digieggs in a really interesting way. You can see how the Digiegg of reliability is basically split open on the back to reveal these wings. Courage being used as a headpiece and love being flipped to act as these mouth pincers. Hope as a wing, friendship as feet, the drills of knowledge exploding from the Digiegg of kindness, the golden armors in the middle and the Digiegg of sincerity too. Just a really cool Megazord vibe, which Adriano Davino was looking for. Adriano initially giving me a version which was all pink, kind of compromising the Digiegg elements into one overall design in the similar way that Dry did with Guardiamon. However, when I asked to see what it would look like if we did have all of the colors represented just for a bit of fun, it did grow on Adriano, and he realized that Megazord style did fit the Kamen Rider and General Tokusatsu inspiration that Stingmon and some of its evolutions have. Brahmarimon activates its drills, spinning fast enough to perhaps pierce the heavens, then unleashing a spiral motion,
I love the Gurren Lagann reference. I love that anime.
Creating all that would stand before it with its justice bombardment. And that finally brings us to Vmon. Much like Wormmon, Vmon is part of some of the most iconic combinations of Digimon in Zero 2. Paildramon, Imperialdramon, Dragon Mode, and Fighter Mode, and indeed Paladin Mode. So I got Weirdamon on board to combine all of the armors for Vmon. And how do we outdo Imperialdramon Paladin Mode? Or why don't we make a Digimon?
Imperialdramon King Mode, maybe?
That is literally called Paladin Mon. Yes, a natural evolution of the name Paladin Mode. He's now an entire Paladin in his own right. And Paladin Mon as a name keeps up that similar vibe that Paildramon and Imperialdramon have. And I think it's appropriate for this Digimon. This feels like a step up from Imperialdramon Paladin.
Paladin Mon. Oh, that's awesome.
Mode, and as a combined armor also kind of feels like it might be a fitting homage to Omnimon Merciful Mode. Weirdamon definitely went for a much more cohesive design here, combining all the armors into this kind of like Paladin Mode, Merciful Mode armor, but with all those crests represented on its chest piece and its sword. And this sword is really where you start to see some more of those elements of the Digieggs come in. Well, of course, the main Digimon's wings are very reminiscent of the crest of hope, light, and love. The sword itself has elements of kindness, courage, sincerity, hope, destiny, fate, love, and all those crests emblazoned on the sword. This again feels like a good Megazordy kind of design, but in a different way to Brahmarimon. This is
this would be the form the Megazord would take in the final battle against the super mega villain in that mode, but this would be the only mode it would be able to take once, because once the villain is defeated, so would end up the Megazord, something kind of akin to I can't recall any of the ones that actually had an ending like that.
Differently
Damn.
evolved design, but I can still see how this would be a
Maybe just
summation of all
OG?
of the
I don't know.
Digieggs and Vmon. Raising its sword to the sky and cleaving throughout the galaxy, Paladinmon delivers its signature move, the Sword of Eternal Justice. But we couldn't quite leave it there. When Weirdmon was coming out with Paladinmon, I was like, man, I just don't know which direction we go here. Do we go humanoid, like fighter mode and paladin mode, or draconic, like dragon mode? And then I thought, you know what, if Vmon, the kind of main character Digimon, is going to use all the armor Digieggs, maybe he'll get 2. So not only do we have Paladinmon, but he can mode change to a more destructive draconic form, Paladinmon Tarask mode.
Oh my god, that is so awesome! Paladinmon Tarask form. Holy shit, he is literally sitting inside a galaxy.
Yeah, Weirdmon nailed this one too, bro. This draconic form sitting in a galaxy and engulfed in flame is so sick. And this is where you see that sword divvy up from the combined form and start to really represent the armored Digieggs even more. With pauldrons of courage, the shuriken of sincerity, shoulder pieces of friendship, and wings of love and hope and light, plus much, much more on those crests all in the galaxy. I always kind of felt in Digimon Adventure 02 that even though there were mode changes, Dragon mode was kind of treated a little bit like the inferior version of Fighter mode and Paladin mode, obviously being the most strong that we get from those two Digimon. So I like the idea of flipping the script here, with Paladinmon being the default and very strong, but Tarask mode being much more obviously a combined armored Digivolution and literally sitting among the galaxy super strong. I absolutely love this. Paladinmon Tarask mode sits above a galaxy, observing Digimon it deems too wicked to exist. A huge rival of Galactimon, of who it does not approve. The Arbiter of Fate, the Tarask at the end of it all, wipes out planets at a time with its signature move, Galactic Implosion. And that is awesome. All of our custom art Digimon using every single armor Digiegg to create new exciting forms. Hawkmon becoming Benumon by Rubix, Armadillomon becoming Armadamon by Soru, Gatomon becoming Hensutmon by HLR, Patamon becoming Guardiamon by Dry, Wormmon becoming Brahmarimon by Adriano Divino, and Vmon becoming both Paladinmon and Paladinmon Tarask mode by Weirdomon. Thank you to all my artists. Their links will be in the description down below, as will the link to my Patreon, which you can go sign up and become a Deva, like I said in the intro, or even a Sovereign like ZDK14. Thank you all so much for your support. This is absolutely insane. Love making these videos. And thank you to everyone who supports me here on YouTube too. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you next time when we go digital. Bye-bye.
That's going to be the end of today's video, and I hope you all enjoyed this. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all of y'all next time when we flick back on. Until then, this is Fox, signing out. Peace.